From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Morreale and Hitch.
All right, welcome everybody to the Morreale and Hitch podcast episode, whatever, can't remember, don't recall, but it is a beautiful day today. It's been what do you got, coffee?
Got a coffee, but there's
you don't
only
have the Urban Bowman coffee.
The only Ticats is it's half off and it's only one side. They only make it one side. This I didn't have it, and I'm right-handed.
You're right-handed. Doesn't make sense.
No. They make the coffee cups for the lefties.
You know what else doesn't make sense? Butko has a nice shirt on. I said, "Where'd you get the shirt? Is that the new shirt?" He said, "No. Look at lovely shirt." Now we hear the echo. You can go on mute, Butko, please. Let's not ruin everything. And
Can you believe
Butko,
it?
when'd you get the shirt? He said, "Last year." I said, "Nice. I didn't get one of those." He said he paid for it. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
I don't believe it. We're gonna have to talk to Dave and Peter and see if he really paid for that shirt. Yeah. I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either.
I haven't paid for a thing there in 30 years.
Let's keep that trend going. Listen, you get what you pay for, buddy. Well, do we have to talk football? Because, oh my God. I was on the standings this morning. And right now, Sask is coming over. 5 wins. Like, they have that crossover tab, and you can see where they're 2 games up on. I can't even.
No,
I can't.
You're fighting for second place. That's it's bottom line. I know there's lots of games left, but my gosh, they're fighting right now for second place.
And we talked about the importance of these weeks, right? The East opponents, the back-to-backs, all that stuff, and I'm not sure we did ourselves any favors. No.
Well, you know what? The week before, I don't think we chatted because we didn't have it, and they came back and they beat.
Yes.
They won, and that was an awesome win and good fourth quarter win because I want to talk about that. The fourth quarter, Hamilton has not scored points in the fourth quarter until that game against Toronto, and they came back and I think they scored 17 or 14 in the fourth.
That was a nice finish to that game. That was good.
They finished, and then the Montreal game, they go down, it was great. They score. Montreal goes down like one play. They got the ball and boom, put it in the end zone. Kudos to Hamilton. Go back, kick a nice 51-yarder, 47-yarder, and then you know, buddy, we've been in this situation many times. 38 seconds defense. Boom, boom, boom. 50-yard field goal. Game over. Just heartbreaking.
Frustrating.
You know what? They had some guys on D that were not there. Simone. I think Roll, a bunch of the guys, the starters who are good starters weren't there, but hey, they played them well, and they just they didn't find that way to win. I got my neighbor. I can see my neighbor coming over right now with tomatoes. He's Italian. Honest to God, he's got tomatoes and peppers. He's gonna knock on my door any second. You're gonna hear the dogs.
If you gotta go, you gotta go. Get the tomatoes and peppers. You can't. As a matter of fact, I did a garden this year.
Well, here we go.
Oh, there's the tomatoes. There's the peppers.
There's the tomatoes. So my wife's gonna get that.
There you go.
Ahead.
Good. Oh yeah, it's for your wife. She's off. It's summertime. This is easy.
Not much longer.
Not much longer. Get back.
Yeah. Hey, so let's talk about a little bit about your championship weekend. We didn't really get a chat about that. So how'd it go?
Incredible. Ottawa was a great host. The games were fantastic. The semifinal games were great. You got a buzzer beater. Well, buzzer we played with Elam ending, but last second winner in the Ottawa game came to the championship game, and Hamilton Scarborough, which to me and you is Toronto Hamilton, right? The QEW rivalry. So that was cool because all these guys had played against each other, know each other from previous. So it was pretty electric. And what made it more electric is as I walked into the arena, there's J. Cole, sitting there. I'm like, what? Wow. That was to come off a tour, fly yourself into Ottawa to watch a CBL game is pretty cool.
Good,
so Drake was supposed to be there too, couldn't make it. He had a party at his house. He didn't like the result because Scarborough lost on the last play. Questionable foul call, right? Mm-hmm. After review. But in my role as commissioner, I got to deal with the fallout of stuff like that. But anyways, it was an incredible finish. And then Drake was not too happy. So he posted some picture of me actually to his 113 million followers talking about someone else. So I was like, to me, any news is good news. So I'll
Sure,
take
you,
that.
sure you didn't use your name in my face or your face in my name.
So it was awesome. We had great concerts. We had lots of sponsors. The games were like the final game was incredible. They were down 17 going into Elam, which is our target score. So we set the target score, I think, at 91. They needed to score, 26 points they had to go on a 26-8 run, and they basically went on like a 25-8 run, came within 2 points, and then foul call, free throw, game over. But it was incredible.
So for the 25 listeners, I think we have.
Oh, we up to that now?
You should. Nice. Yeah, I don't know, maybe more, but you should let them know about that scoring and how that works, because I'm not sure if people don't watch, they probably say, "What do you mean that scoring? Yeah. How does that? You don't just win a game? Like, maybe explain that a little bit."
So yeah, basically, if anybody has watched basketball and then the game is lopsided at the end within a couple minutes, it just becomes a foul fest, right? The trailing team's got a foul because they need the ball back. Foul. It's awful. It lasts 30 minutes. It's garbage time.
Yeah.
With the target score, what's called the Elam ending, which is the guy's name who created it, basically for us at the 4-minute mark or the first stoppage, the clock goes off. Whatever the leading team has, so let's say they have 80 and the trailing team has 60, then we add 9 to the leading team score, so the target becomes 89. Now both teams raced at 89. So what happens is the trailing team can't foul, because every time they foul, the team goes to the line, it gets closer and closer to that score because the leading team has the advantage, right? But if you play good defense and you take some shots and you work your offense, there's no clock to worry about. There's the 24-second clock, but there's no game clock. So it allows for runs. And Scarborough went on this massive run, 17 points in a row, 17-0 run in Elam time. We're the only league in the world that does it, that uses it. And I imagine you will see it somewhere in the major leagues pretty soon. So the NBA has used it.
How do the players like it? How do the players like it?
They like it because the intensity just cranks up, because it's like next bucket wins, right? So the mentality is I'm just going to play backyard good basketball. It gets tough. Yeah. It's tough to officiate because it's high intensity, high contact. Like, guys are going to the rim. Guys are playing defense. Like, it amps it up. It is the best way to end a basketball game, period. But, like anything, there's a lot of purists. It's going to take time for the major guys. But like I said, the NBA's already used it in their last 3 All-Star games to great success. So it's pretty incredible.
Nice.
I just confused everybody, with that. Nobody has a clue.
No.
We have had some tremendous guests. Our listeners know who they've been. We've had last week or 2 weeks ago, we didn't have a guest. The guy bailed on us. This week, new guest. We have no idea who it is. I don't think it's anybody on the West Coast, because it's 10 in the morning and that would make it 7 a.m. So
they're not up.
They're not. There's no way they're up. So without further ado, Butko, would you please unveil the guest to Rob and myself? Dun, 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 dun.
I need glasses to see.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, I can feel his presence.
Oh, my goodness.
It's coming.
Wow.
It's close. It's Cummins.
It's Cummins.
He's coming.
The internet in Nova Scotia is not very good. Here we go again.
Oh, what? Oh, Jesus.
Look at this man.
What were you, Cocoon, in that movie Cocoon? What happened? You're looking beautiful.
Some of us, don't age as well as others.
Look at that handsome man.
Beautiful.
Listen, it's this opportunity only comes up once in a lifetime. You know what I mean? Sit down and talk to you two about some of the nonsense that goes on in your lives. I'm just happy to be here, folks.
But before we get into this, we haven't really said who our guest is, but our guest is Jeffrey Cummins.
Oh, what a
defensive lineman for the Hamilton Ticats. Unbelievable player. My God, just loved him. Oh my gosh.
I still love his face.
What are you, 440 right now? How much you weighing?
What?
The camera adds, 100, 120 pounds. You know what I mean?
How many cameras are pointing at you?
Seven. That's that joke that I said to my brother one time. He said, "Boy, I saw you on TV. He said, you look like you put on a pounder." I said, "Well, the camera adds a few pounds." He said, "You got 7 cameras on you? What's going on?" From Las Vegas, he says this to me. Thanks a lot.
Oh, my gosh.
Listen,
Yeah, there might
Jeff,
be a pound or two since we played.
there's a pound. It's all good because you're a beautiful man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still in the best shape of my life. You know? still. So hasn't changed, boys. Hasn't changed.
I love it.
And that's what we love. That's what we love. So a little history on Jeff Cummins. I played with Jeff in Toronto in my first year or two. I had just a crazy time. Those times in Toronto were nuts. They were far from normal to the first year, especially. Yeah. But you came there from, I want to say Memphis. Where did you come from?
Oregon. What?
No. Didn't you play in the American teams? What team was it? I'm drawing a blank.
Vegas.
Where'd you go to school?
How was that?
Where'd you go to school?
Oregon.
Yeah, thank you.
Oregon. Yeah, no. I'm talking
thank
about
you.
professionally. He
came
when the teams were disbanding. You came from, what was Vegas like to be you've never played in the CFL. Next you know there's a team in Vegas. You go there and you're like, what do you think at that point?
Well, it's the Odyssey, right? I mean, prior to that, right? So Robbie was right. I played at Oregon and then was picked up with the Rams as a free agent. So then I had gone to LA, back home, thought I was going to make it, never been cut from anything in my life, right? Not the beautiful subject that I am now. I used to be in much better shape. So I could run around and do stuff, but never been cut before in my life. So then got cut and thought the world was over, right? So got cut.
Oh, yeah.
Signed with another couple of NFL teams. Ended up going to camp in '94 with Browns. Got cut from there. Belichick was the head coach at the time with a real good staff. Saban was a D coordinator, and I could name drop a few more. But anyways, there was guys there. So got cut from there.
You're pulling a Bernsey. Bernsey.
Yeah, good call. Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. So then, I go to Toronto, but we folded up. Vegas was there. I only played 9 games, and
Alvia was there, correct? With you?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, Anthony was, but there was a handful of really good players there with us. Tamarick Vanover was our return specialist, and I mean, we were good. Reinbold was our special teams coordinator.
Oh, boy.
We were solid, man. We were really, really good on specials. We weren't very good on offense, and defensively, we struggled. We had some good players, but we just couldn't figure it out. And like, to your point, I mean, it was in Vegas, right? So I lived in an apartment with a buddy of mine and my brothers that was going to UNLV. I paid $110 a month to live in an apartment with 5 other guys. So there were 6 of us there. I shared a room with one of my buddies, and we one of us sleep in there. They don't sleep on the couch or whatever. But I was only there for half the season because I was in Cleveland up until training camp finished. So we got done with training camp, and we're about ready to start the regular season. Got cut. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, do I want to do this again and try to do the NFL thing and continue to keep fighting, or do I want to try to make some money? Anyways, go to Vegas and play, and what a gong show. My first 3 years were gong shows until I teamed up we got back into Hamilton, and we actually got solidified. But gong show, Vegas, we picked up our checks in the actual casino cashiers. So we had to go into a casino to the cashier desk, and they handed us our checks. And then you get this check, and you're like, well, and
I got my rent covered.
Well, yeah, I didn't have to worry about that. I had there were many times where guys would not ever get out of the casino with their actual game checks.
I would have been
there was a couple times. Yeah, you two would have been in trouble. So there's
disaster.
Disaster. But there was a couple times where guys would walk out with their game check and have 2 or 3 times their game check. Right? Now that only happened a couple of times. But, I wasn't that bad.
Were you not getting paid in US? Or were you getting? You were, eh? So if the minimums here were 29, probably 30, maybe 29, 29.5, you were making you weren't making very much either.
No, and I was only there for half the season, right?
That's right.
So there's a whole lot of more stories we'll talk about on the, when we're not on this, but just
you can
and from a financial side of it too, like that stuff, like just ridiculous, ridiculous, the whole thing. So anyway, sinking ship as it goes. The two good quick stories on it. We go to BC to play, and our equipment manager and one of the players get into a full-on fight The equipment manager, before the game ever starts, quits right there.
Oh.
So we have to go through the rest of the game, the pregame, all the rest of it, with no equipment guy, no nothing. No one's handing anything out. We have no idea what's going on. Guy left. So we're trying to figure things out. We don't have socks. We don't have like nothing, right? So that was one story. Another story, we go to Saskatchewan to play. My first sack in the CFL was this game. We go there. It's cold. We have zero cold weather gear. 25 of us head down to the Army surplus store, and we're buying long johns and doing all, just try to make sure that we stayed warm. And that was the first time I'd ever seen someone kick a field goal punt because the wind was so bad. So Carlos Huerta had 13 missed field goals in that game because because we just kicked it out of bounds. So instead of punting, we lined up in field goal formation and we just hammered it out of bounds.
And cornered it.
That's right, as much as he could, right? And there was no flag then, right? So you just kick it out of bounds.
Tell the guys in your office to beat it.
Can you guys hear them through this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's Dan McNally. So you tell him.
Mr. McNally. Tell him Hitch says hi.
Rob Hitchcock and Mike Morreale say, "Hey, coach, can you keep it down, please?" So, yeah,
it is a professional show.
It is a professional. Well, let's go. When they told me it was you two, I said, "Well, let's be honest."
You were a bit nervous, and you're probably still a bit nervous. We'll not a chance. Not a chance. So, anyways, the quick dirty version of the first 3 years, Mike, as you said, and we went to Toronto. So, anyways, the last story is probably the best one. So we're folding, like we know we're folding. Yep. We can't get anybody to come out to see us play. So the last regular season game we're supposed to have home in Vegas, we go on the road and played in Edmonton. And it was cold as a home game. And it was cold and wet and icy and all the rest of that stuff. Ooh. And don't I, tear my MCL. I had a plane ticket in my house, in my apartment. And you guys remember the name Marcelo Simmons. I was supposed to go and try out with the Jacksonville Jaguars a week later. Had the plane ticket in my hand, literally. And I tore my MCL and had to send the plane ticket back. You know who signs with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Marcelo Simmons. Same thing. Yeah. He was there. We've had this conversation. He was there. We would have got to know each other then. Anyways, we met a year later, obviously, and when we were all in Toronto, Mike. Yeah. So my first year was Vegas. They folded. I go to Toronto. You and I were there. 2 coaches. We can go on for hours about what happened in that one. Yeah.
Then you guys bring in all the studs for 97 with Flutie and all the rest of the Memphis Mad Dog defense and all that stuff. Heck, they trade me in training camp, say, yeah, good luck, fat guy. You go to Ottawa, right?
That's right.
We fold there. I get 2 more coaches there. So my first 2.5 seasons, I had 5 coaches, 5 head coaches. I had to forfeit my my pension in Ottawa so we could make payroll.
Oh my God.
In Vegas, they gave us our pension because they didn't want to transfer it over from Vegas into the CFL. So I have 6 years in the CFL, but only 4 years of pension because of the situations that I was in. And in the first 3 years, had 5 different head coaches and won 8 games.
Wow.
Won 8 football games in 2.5 years with 5 head coaches.
That's
and then I teamed up with you 2 idiots, and then it was
then
south
magic
from there.
happened.
You know what
it went totally downhill.
Yeah,
you thought that was bad. Just what happened after.
Yeah.
For those,
it went like this. It went downhill and uphill at the same time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but for those who are just tuning in and listening to this, we have Jeff Cummins on our podcast. One of a very special man, one unbelievable football player. A great friend of ours.
We have no idea what your stats are, right? No idea. We have no idea your stats.
I don't care.
We don't do stats on this one. We don't care. We're just good football, good people. And you know what, Jeff? You've been up at Acadia University in Wolfville, Nova Scotia for 20 years now? How many years you been up there?
2001 was my first year as an assistant.
Wow.
And
you took over from Sonny Wolf, no?
In 03. Yeah, I did in 03. Yeah.
Because my brother Paul, as you know, went to Acadia. And
Paul and I talked a while ago. We just talked about a month and a half ago.
And he went there with, of course, with Morreale's cousin, Paul Masadi.
Paul Masadi.
Some great stories.
I was talking to a couple guys yesterday, that played with Paul and played with both Pauls. Yeah. both calls, and they were talking about him. And I said I was coming to do your guys' show, and they said, "Oh, you got to be kidding me! Those guys are doing a show." Yeah. Well, I played with Paul, and we played with Masadi, and and we just started going on about all this. I said, "Listen,
That's
great
good.
guys, both are phenomenal golfers and football players, but great golfers." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and then I talked about you two, and then I said, "Wait a minute, the golf sessions with those two, I can't remember how we finished. To be honest with you,
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But that goes back to a comment you guys made. Sorry, Robbie, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
The comment you made about you don't know any of my stats or you don't know any of the stats or whatever.
Not important.
If you go back to when we played, and this is we'll start talking glory days, no one gave a shit what our stats were.
Nope.
I didn't care how many catches you had. I didn't care how many plays Rob made. You didn't care how many plays I made. And I didn't care what anybody did, but we friggin' won.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had fun doing it.
My gosh, more fun than I can imagine, right? So it was one of those things that, playing the games was as much fun as anything, and hanging out with the crew that we had there of 30 to 40 guys. It wasn't like cliques of like 6 or 7 guys or 8 or 9 guys. And Mike, you and I can talk about that when we were in Toronto, how that kind of clicked in different groups and whatnot. And Rob, I'm sure you can, talk about some of those things in your experiences prior to the years that we were all together. When we would go, I tell people this all the time. We get done with practice, we go in the back parking lot there. There would be 40 of us all hanging out, cracking a beer, just talking. And just out. And I've never experienced that anywhere that I've been. NFL, CFL, Arena League, never had an experience like that.
We've talked about this a couple times with we've had Dave Hack, we've had Montford, we've had Flutie, we've had Belly, we've had like Marwan Hage, we had all the guys on, and the guys that played in our era, that comes to mind all the time. And guys, people like, I don't think they can understand the camaraderie, the family, the love that we had for each other. When, like you said, when we used to go into Brian Timmins Stadium after a practice, after a rundown, and get the rookies to get us 2-3 cases of beer, we sit there and just have 1 or 2 beers and just talk. And we'd sit there for an hour and a half and not go home. Most guys
Andrew would sit there 6, 7, 8 hours and not go home.
I thought Andrew lived at Iverwin. I wasn't sure.
He did with Pusky and the rest of the guys.
Yeah, that's right. And Bugs and the rest. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, listen, we're here with Jeffrey Cummins. We have to do this. This is what we're told. We have to remind people because, just in case one of our 16 viewers goes to the bathroom, comes back, want to make sure they know who we're talking to, as you know.
That's nice.
So we're here with Jeff Cummins. Jeff, you came out of Oregon.
Yeah.
Bounced around the CFL, found a home, really a home in Hamilton. We all did. We all found a home in Hamilton.
Fair.
Like that was our home.
Absolutely.
But you were a character. Yes. Well done. You were a character from day one.
Yeah.
Where did you, now people don't know when Jeff had one of the best spin moves I've ever seen. Number one. And it was all momentum. Once the boiler got going in one direction, it was just centrifugal force just spun him around the other way. And then you do your little toe tap dance. Right. And where did that come from? Was that an Oregon thing? Was that you just having fun?
No. So, and the centrifugal force, as you guys remember walking around in the locker room, it wasn't my belly so much, but anyways, that's another conversation. So it's one of those things where the dance was a little bit of a take. And I actually talked to Suter about it when they were here and did a game here at Acadia, a month or so ago, Touchdown Atlantic, which was phenomenal, by the way. We can get into that a little bit later if you want. But he and I were talking. So in 95, he sat down with me in some hotel, gym, like workout gym. We talked about it, and he asked me the question because we were doing a halftime interview. So he talked to me about it. But what it came from was in 95, that off season, there was 2 separate guys from my junior college team. My junior college team, I don't know if I talked to you guys about it. I'm sure I mentioned it at one time or another. We were incredible. I was there for 3 years. I missed the first year because I broke my foot, and then I played the next 2 years. In the 3 years that I was there, we lost 2 games in 3 years. So we played for 2 national championships, won one, lost one, and the other one we played in a bowl game and we won. And I was player of the game. I got a pick, believe it or not.
Come on.
Tackled at the inch line. Anyways, so the guy runs it in and gets his 4th touchdown on the day, the bugger. But anyways, but I had 2 guys that summer or that off season before I went back to play that passed away. Okay. And one of them was in a traffic stop. He did something that he shouldn't have done, reached in for some stuff or whatever, and got shot. Right. And then another guy got killed in a gang thing. So I had 2 guys on the show. Anyways, the dance was something that another guy on our team used to do, and we used to all do it, and he would kind of just get all up and he'd kind of tiptoe around or whatever. And so I was like, oh man, you know what? I got to do something that is going to kind of pay tribute to those guys.
Right.
Now, some of the nonsense that went on when I was dancing, I just saw it when we played that game. Some of them I was like, wow, that wasn't what it was supposed to be. Like, I don't know what happened there. I mean, it just went, right? So, and then Glenn asked me hey, so where did that come? I don't know. I'm not sure. I just had to start going, and then, oh God, what happens? But it was just one of those things where I started it with the intent that it was going to be something that he did, and then it kind of took off a little bit. And then I started getting some notoriety, and people were like, oh, the sack dance. I'm like, oh, I'm creating a name for myself here.
That's
on a team, Mike, as you remember, we were god awful.
Oh, we were bad.
Horrible.
You're talking Toronto here, right?
Correct. 1995 Toronto. 95 Toronto.
Bad.
Yeah.
With the
hey, Mike, with the jersey that had the Argo that was half tucked into our pants. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Anyways, it was, it was a fun thing for me to do. And if I got lucky enough to get a sack, I did it. And I had, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9 of them that year. And then that was when they, if you got a strip sack, didn't count as a sack. It was a fumble, right?
Yeah.
So the big joke with defensive line was get the strip sack and then push the ball back underneath them. So you got your bonuses for a sack, right? Let me get that $200 for the sack. No, you can keep the ball. Just give me my $200, right? So, but anyways, the dance itself kind of started with that, and then it just kind of took off, and people kind of would mention it and bring it up, and so then I said, well, let me just keep going with it. As we got into the years in Hamilton, it just kind of, I don't know, I just started acting up more and more. And the fans were fun. Like, it was fun, right? The fans would cheer and scream, and I'm like, yeah. And then mine wasn't as subdued as Joseph. Joseph would give him the year out kind of thing. Me, I'm out there because I didn't get very many of them. So I was like, yeah, let me go crazy here for a second. So, and I was fortunate enough, let's be real honest here. And Joseph and I are still, I haven't talked to him in a while, but we were real close, as you guys know. I was afforded sacks and luxury because they had to watch out for him, right? Joseph was a man amongst boys, and Rob would be in the meetings. We'd be sitting there, right? And Rob and I sat next to each other as he was pulling the plug on Sudsy and turning the lights off and all the things he could do.
Out the back door.
My gosh, whatever he could do to tease Sudsy, whatever he could do. But then, we'd have a play or something, and Joe would pipe in because Sudsy and Deke would be like, Cummins, what are you doing on this play? And I'm like, and Joe would say, Coach, that's my bad. I told him I might go inside or I might go outside. And I look at Joe and I'm like, are you going to help me out? He's like, yeah, I got that. That's on me, Coach. That's on me. Thank you. Because we'd line up and he'd give me the old wink. And I'm like, oh, well, now I got to wait to see what Joe does. And then I'll react off of him. More often than not, it worked out really, really well because he was really, really good. And then there were times where they'd force him out and I'd get a cheap sack, and all because they were all concentrating on
just grab the center and the guard and let Joe do the nice little I remember when I had remember the old storm, the blitz storm, and I think you were in there. I don't know what it was. It was one of the games you were up a lot, and Sudsy called this storm blitz, and I came flying up, and I think you grabbed him and you just let the center go, and then he stepped back into and it was one of these boom, and I was like, I was not ready for that hit. I saw this beautiful hole open up, and then you let him go, and I'm like, I think you did that on purpose. It was awesome.
You cheated on Friday the day before in the golf tournament. You did not let me win. You cheated. The foot wedge came out. I'm like, listen, you got to pay for that, buddy.
Okay, if I can remember this correctly, in the Shadok tournament that we played in, and you're going to remember this because you're the one.
I don't want to remember this.
He's the one. Him and Coulter are the ones that pulled out a sapling tree about 25 feet, and they dragged it in a golf cart for about 500 yards.
And
they brought it.
Just replanting.
But they brought it right up to the clubhouse.
Right to the clubhouse.
Right up to the clubhouse.
Right to the clubhouse.
And then left it on the 18th hole. It's like, that's a 20-foot tree they pulled out.
Good old days.
That I try to block out. I do remember it, Rob, but I try to block that one out.
It was cold.
And I do remember that. Yeah, we're playing that on Cooler. That's Cooler all day. Yeah. That's Cooler
Jeff,
all
there's
day.
a lot of things I try and block out.
Buddy.
Don't worry.
Buddy. Yeah, it's one of those things, honestly, that those tournaments, that Shadok thing. We used to do the Ryder Cup. Yeah, we used to do the Hamilton Tiger Keck Ryder Cup, and so it'd be Americans versus Canadians, and I don't know if we ever really figured out who won. It didn't matter. We didn't
Did it
care.
matter? Did it matter?
No,
They
because
beat
Cooler
us.
would come and never play golf.
No.
But his whole cart would be full with a keg and 26ers.
But Cooler was the manager for the U.S. team. He didn't want to be on the team.
I know.
He wanted you guys.
Well, he was hanging out with Pork Chop and Burnt.
Oh,
and
of course.
That's why. Yeah. It was one of those things that didn't have anything to do with me. But I had fun. I got to tag along and play in those tournaments, and
Awesome.
yeah, we played more golf in those couple of years than than I have since. And I wish I could get back to playing that. Yeah, that's true too.
The best kind of golf.
That's true too. Yes, that's true too. We had some good time. Those were fun. Going to play golf with you guys and hanging out with the group. And I think the thing that it did is solidified those relationships that we all had. I mean, even to this day, I'll see Danny. I went out and guest coached with the Bombers this year. So I hung out with Danny and we'd sit and talk, and there were stories that were coming up from the golf tournaments and different things.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't talk about the game. We didn't talk about the games. Like we didn't talk about it. We talked about the 5:30 in the morning when we were getting ready to get back on the plane for Winnipeg, that we hadn't slept all night. And I'm trying to get a half hour sleep, and he's bouncing on the bed, pouring frosted flakes all over me. Like, what do you do? Like, Danny, 5 minutes, dude, 5 minutes, pouring them in. And then what was left, Cooler was in the shower. He pours them in the shower on Cooler. So, it's just one of those
For no reason.
No,
for no
why?
reason.
Why? Just why wouldn't you? So we started talking about that. We didn't talk about the fact that he threw 8 million touchdowns, or that he might be one of the best quarterbacks to play in the CFL. And we didn't. There's none of that conversation comes up. It comes up with, the times that we had going to High's Steakhouse, or going to the Wheel, or going to, whatever we did, going to play golf, like you said, at Shadok or whatever. I mean, those are the things that I remember.
Or the Palomino Club.
We might have gone there once or twice.
Oh, well,
So
we're here.
Crazy.
Yeah. I was going to say, Rob, I want to get into, we're here with Jeff Cummins, longtime CFL, longtime Ticat, defensive lineman, great guy, now the head coach at Acadia. How do you get to Acadia? And by the way, you brought up Sonny Wolf. Sonny Wolf recruited me when I was here at Mac.
You told me this.
And how's Sonny doing? Because I haven't spoken to him forever.
So Sonny's in Montreal. He and his wife are in Montreal. He was coaching high school football for a long period of time.
Really?
After he left here. So he left here and had a couple different stops. That he went to, crazy as it is, the year that he got fired, he turned and went and coached at X with Deeker. Yep. So he was the offensive coordinator with Deke. Okay. And then he left there and he was at the University of Montreal, and then he was helping out. He was at McGill. And then he started doing high school in Montreal. And so he's still in Montreal. He does some freelance writing for Canada Football Chat, or Canada Football Chat. I think that's it. With Lee Barrett's thing that he has.
Yes.
Yeah. So he does some freelance writing for, and Lee Barrett played here at Acadia as well with Larry Justanis, who you guys both know, and that whole group of guys there that do the Football North stuff and the prep school stuff and all that stuff. So Sonny's still connected. So
I got to stop you for 1 second, Jeff. The beauty of talking to Jeff is you ask tell one question and you'll get an answer about 100 things, which is perfect, because sometimes you guys in the podcast, they have nothing to say.
How does it go, Rob? Cheeseburger. Sonny's there. The answer for me being out here is going to be short and quick, and you guys both know the reason. You just don't know the reason. But Sonny's in Montreal.
Yes.
Sonny's in Montreal, and he's living there with his wife. I think they're doing fine. He was here at a dinner a couple of years ago. I saw him. Actually, we had a big dinner here, and all the coaches, and you would know all three of them: John Heward, Bob Vespasian, and then Sonny, and then myself. So those are the last.
That's only four?
There's one other one or two other ones earlier, but they were like 60s. So those four coaches since Vest took over. What was Vest's first year, Dan? 71. So from 71 till now, there's only been 4 head coaches at Acadia.
You're a lucky man. You're a lucky man.
Yeah. So that's the long answer to where's Sonny. But those coaches, you guys know, John Heward, you guys know you would have played against him, when he was coaching at Toronto a little bit. And then Vest was all over the place. And what a great man. God rest his soul. I mean, he passed away here a couple of years ago and we miss him, but he would come up here and he guest coach with us one time. And he and Sonny coached together. And then there's a connection, as you guys know, the connection of football, the networking is so tight.
We're ready. If you're at training camp soon, we could come up and guest coach for a couple of days. I've never been to Acadia. My brother went there, as you know, and I would love. I've never been to the is it the Anvil and the Axe still going?
Yes, look at you. Of course, you know where the bars are.
That's what I'm gonna say.
I've never been. I've heard about them, but I've never been. Well, you need to get us up there.
Well, let me just tell you right now, we've already started training camp. We're a week in. Our first regular season game is Saturday, so I'm in the middle of
the weekend.
See you next
year. I did this show right in the middle of my training camp, so you're welcome. You know what I mean? So,
thank you, sir.
As you can tell, I'm really stressed out here. Wait, hold on. So I got, you know what I mean? So nothing's changed, boys. Nothing's changed.
I love
so
it.
yeah, so Sonny is doing well, and then the reason why I'm here, and Robbie alluded to it, is my wife Karen. So Karen is from this part of this country. She's from this area, 25 minutes from here, was where she grew up, spent most of her life here. Her mother's still here. Her father passed away a few years ago. Her sister and a couple of nieces are close. And so that's
How
what
old
brought
are
us
the
here.
kids? How old are the kids?
My son is 20 and my daughter is 18, both going into second year university. My son took the COVID year off, didn't go to school, stayed here and worked, and then was out at UBC last year and now is transferring to
he's the
York.
other coast.
Yeah, well, he's transferring to York. He's transferring to York because he got into film, movies, production stuff. So he's going to go do that. Yeah,
doesn't he get a free education if he goes to Acadia?
Yep.
Oh, that's good. You've had that conversation before.
Bring that up again, Rob. Please bring that up again. Yeah, please. No film, movies, and production at Acadia. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Fair enough.
And my daughter's doing nursing at UPEI, and we don't have a nursing program either. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
That investing I did with Ozzy 20 some years ago is really paying off.
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
Mine too.
Anyways, yeah, you too. Yeah. Any way I could take a shot at Oz when he's not here is good. I got a picture. Hey, I was out in Kamloops. Speaking of Ozzy, I was out in Kamloops scouting last year, and I was watching a junior football game, and I go into this hallway, and isn't there a shrine to Ozzy out there?
No boy.
I'm not even kidding.
For junior football.
Yeah, I'll send you guys a picture of it so you guys can have. There's like the shrine. He's got his cleats and he's got a jersey. Yeah, he's got a picture of him, the whole thing. It's awesome. I was like, man, I got to figure out how to get in touch with him. I got to send him this stuff. Ozzy, you are in the Hall of Fame. What the hell? Anyways, it was great. But yeah, I don't even know where we were going with that. So yeah, Karen's out here. The kids are there. Sid's playing basketball. My daughter Sydney is playing basketball as well, Michael, which I know the basketball guy that you are nowadays. Okay. I remember the jump shot, the fadeaway jumper. I remember when we played Cops and Cats. I remember. Hey,
down low, I could sharpen the elbows down low. I like that.
Mix it up. You notice Rob's not saying a word, right?
Not a word.
He was waiting for the hockey.
You were a baller.
Hockey.
You were a baller.
Yeah, you were a baller.
Yeah.
You were a baller.
Yeah. Anyways.
That was your favorite sport. Let me guess. Is that your favorite
100%. 100%. Wasn't even close.
You were very light on your feet. Very light on your feet.
He was.
You are.
At least on the feet. Everywhere else, the scale not so much, but the feet, yes. No, I coached. So I coached my kids in junior high, and then I coached my daughter's high school basketball team for 3 years as well, and they were good. We played provincially and lost in a provincial championship, and yeah, we had some good groups. Girls that have gone on, 8 or 9 girls from those 3 years have gone on to university to play basketball too. So I'm proud of that too. It's good. It's a good group of kids. It's been fun.
Awesome, buddy.
Yeah. How about you guys? Now, Michael, we'll wait on your conversation, Mike, because this will take a long time to talk about what's been going on in your personal relationships. Robert,
we don't.
How is your wife?
Very well. Yeah, we don't have enough time for Mike to talk because
we don't.
We're not going to do it. But Michelle is doing great. She's teaching grade 4 or 5 split. She's been like 17, 18 years, 19 years teaching. My daughter Ava's 18, just turned 18, going to Brock.
Close to home.
Yeah, close to home. I told her to get out of here and go somewhere far, but she's like, no, I want to stay home because she wants a car. So that's a good thing. So, and son Matthew is going to be 16 in September. He's like a 4 handicap golfer. He's ridiculously good. And he's going into grade 11, playing AA hockey, soccer, no football yet. He's starting to grow now. I think because of COVID, we didn't really have football has been kind of.
Oh, I know.
I just said to him, I said to him, I just need you to, you've been on soccer and hockey teams when you have 18, 20 guys you need to get into a group setting and a team setting when you have 40, 50, 60 guys and learn the different cultures and just learn how different people, react and see how they are. And I love that about what we did. And I'm so happy that, we had an opportunity to do that. But with Matt, I'm hoping he's going to try it just because he's a tough kid. He's a tough kid. And I would love him. I don't care about following footsteps. I really don't care about that. I just want him to play the game just to feel that and to, to learn those life skills. But other than that, buddy, just working away still. I got a home office here. And
go back again, working away.
Yeah.
It's just
what is it that you do? Because this is the story. When I talk to anybody in Hamilton,
nobody knows
history. Like Rob's kind of like, what was the TV show where no one could figure out what the guy did for a living? Was that Kramer? Was that Kramer on Seinfeld? Like, what is it that you do?
When George Costanza used to go to work with a briefcase with crackers in it. That's what Rob does.
It's you know what? My wife still doesn't really know what I do. She doesn't. She sees this big screen in here. What are you doing? Real quick, I worked for a private equity firm, a private REIT out of Burlington for a bunch of years, helped them grow that, and then left and joined the company that I started with back in 2007, called Walton. And I'm back with them for the last year. And they're a land-based development asset management company. So I've been with them for the last year and helping build a product down in Canada again. So so head office is Arizona, which is great, which get to head down there a couple of times. But it's good. We're not going to ask Mike. Don't ask Mike.
Oh, so here's the thing with Michael, and he'll tell you.
We just talked recently.
We talked about a month and a half ago. So we got a chance to chat and catch up, and I got some news. I saw the gray, by the way. Mine's gray too, but you just can't find it except here. You know what I mean? So
Jeff, I just sent you an email. I don't know if you got it with two numbers that I have. So is this okay? Whatever. You don't check emails. You got a flip phone still? So
hold on. I'll find one in my desk. But no, I have a good dude. I have to recruit. That's it.
Oh, there you go.
This is the you have to. You don't have
the lifeblood.
Yeah. So, no, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, Robbie. I mean, it's I know the feeling when you talk about your kids following your footsteps. So my son is taller than I am, but he's thin, right? He's thin, like I used to be, and
before we met.
That's right. Long before I got to YouTube. So, but he was a basketball player and he played a little bit of football. But to your point, playing on the football team and being in a situation where he loved it, he loved playing it. Skinny as a rake and played defensive end and had fun with it and enjoyed it. But he's got so much more creative juices than I ever had. Awesome. It's fun to watch him kind of do some of the things that he does. He's got podcasts and Spotify's, and he's doing music and he's doing videos and movies and he's doing all kinds of stuff. So anyways, to your point, I mean, we sit and talk about our kids obviously forever, which is fun, kind of live through them now. But we were kids way up into our late 20s and early 30s. So,
were we though?
Late 30s.
When I look back now, I'm looking back now and being like, oh my God, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
30 years ago.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's crazy because I'm not sure I've grown up much in the last 30 years.
We're not sure you've grown up much either. So, Rob and I, that's what the email said. Mike hasn't grown up a bit. I'm just looking at it on my phone. So now I know.
Yeah.
At least I've jam-packed those 30 years full of, different wives, different experiences, different,
At least we can laugh about it. At least we can laugh about
different jobs.
Yeah.
Hey, and we're still here.
You've had different jobs. I've had the same one. So it's interesting. But it's been fun, man. It's been a treasure to kind of be involved with this sport and be able to move around. I've coached some of the Football Canada teams, the Team Canada stuff. So I've been, into the States. I've been into Europe. I've been down into Mexico and different things where we've gone on and. It's been a lot of fun, right, to get involved in all that stuff and get to meet people from all over the place. And guys that I coach with and coached against have moved all over the country. And then fortunately been able to go back and guest coach and, and now watching like and watching Osh and then Kyle Walters.
How cool is that? That's cool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. It's fantastic. Osh and I talk, more than I talk to most everybody else. I mean, we stay in contact and, he's a great friend and resource and all that stuff. And I know you guys are pretty tight with him. Probably a lot tighter than I am, but I mean, it's just, he's such a great guy and his family's phenomenal. And I went out there and stayed, he made me stay with them at his house when I was out there for a week. And I felt like I was imposing, but they were fantastic.
Oh yeah. I did the same thing about just after we spoke, about a week later, I was out in Winnipeg and went over to Ocha. It was like we were back in the locker room in 1990, whatever.
Yeah.
And, Ocha's name is taboo in Hamilton, right? But when you really it shouldn't be, because this guy is really what CFL football is all about.
Yeah.
And you look at the way he coaches, like he loves it. It means so much to him. He is so passionate about it.
Yeah. Their locker room, Mike and Rob, their locker room is as close to what we used to have.
Really?
As anything that I've seen. I've guest coached in Saskatchewan and Toronto, Ottawa. I've guest coached in 3 or 4 other spots, Winnipeg a few times, and gone back now that OSHA's there, and I've done it twice. Their locker room is as close to what we had as anything. And the way Michael and that group, Richie is one of the best people I've ever met in my life. There's a defensive, Richie Hall, sorry. So Richie, and then you got Mike there, and then he's had a couple different offensive coordinator guys in there, but the people that he keeps in that group, they coach it, and the culture and the group that they have in there. It's funny if you look at it, right? You look at Willie Jefferson, right? Who's a phenomenal stud player. You're like, oh, Joe Montfort. There you go. Colaros, Danny Mack. Flutie. You start going down the list, and guys like you guys that fit a mold here or there, like Ellingson, Ellingson, and then you look at the Wolotarski, and you look at those guys on the offense, and then you turn around and you look at the guys on defense, and you see these stud linebackers, like, oh, there's a Big Hill, oh, okay, there's this guy there, and you're like, there's Tiggle, there's our guys, that's the guys that we had, and the relationships and what he's cultivated there. I watch it and take notes, and we talk about that stuff. We don't talk about X's and O's. No, we talk about that stuff.
Culture.
It's crazy how big a part that whole thing is. And, we steal ideas and we share ideas. Of course. And, that's kind of, we went this weekend, we went paintball. Took our guys, we went paintballing, my entire team on Sunday. And then we had a big roast. Yeah. I got tagged. No, I didn't play. But you know who I played? The last time I played 3 years ago, I played with those guys. We did paintball. Jeff Brown. You guys remember Jeff Brown?
Yeah.
So Jeff Brown's kid, Mason, was playing for us for a while. He played quarterback, then we moved to a receiver or whatever. Okay. Didn't that little bugger tag me twice in the back? Runs by me. I think I'm hiding. I'm kind of, hiding, right?
You can't hide.
He comes up, ping, ping. And the boys lose it.
That's for moving him to quarterback to receiver.
That's right. Oh, that's it. That's right. He paid me back a few years ago because he was ineligible and didn't tell anybody. So
that's nice. Got that going for you.
No. Anyways, that's not very nice because Mason's a good kid and Jeff's an amazing guy. And
Before we tag out, we've been talking almost an hour. It's been unreal. How about this $1 million question? I know you're set there. You've got a lot of, but having
22
said that,
years, buddy,
said
2001. That, I showed up here in 01.
Would you consider CFL? Yeah. Awesome. And I'm sure there's been a lot of conversations.
Yeah. I've been offered a few jobs at different times to move around and do some different stuff. It's something that, it has to be, the right scenario and give me the right position. I mean, I was offered a position 4 or 5 years ago, and my kids just went into high school. I'm like, I'm not picking them up from their high school days and moving them. And I remember one time I got offered a job, and I won't say the city, it doesn't matter, but I got offered a job at a place one time, and I told my wife, she goes, yeah, you can go. We're not moving there. I went, okay, sweet. So the town and the city is irrelevant, but it was just like, no. So, it's got to be, a good situation and the right time and the right people around. But there's, if you think about, the guys that are head coaches and general manager stuff that you guys know that I know, you have some connections now. It's funny, the guys that we play with now are GMs and head coaches and coordinators,
decision makers.
Absolutely. And that's who we're, hanging out with, and guys that we played with and grew up with and know more about than they want us to know. That's for sure. Especially those two yokels at Winnipeg. So,
beauties.
Absolutely. Beauties. Well, listen, Hitch,
and then you throw a pork chop in there. So too.
Speaking of pork chop, this is where we'll finish because we could talk forever, and we'll do this again. Jeff, Rob's got to go get a manicure. But we, the pork chops getting put up into the Wall of Fame inside the stadium in about weeks, right? October, beginning of October.
Pork so chop is Danny McManus for everyone who doesn't know.
Sorry. Yes. We probably should have said that. We all know who it is, and everyone else is like, who's this pork chop guy? Like,
exactly.
Danny Mac.
But my point is, we're going to, not we, meaning the team or the Ticats are going to recreate the beer room in honor of Danny Mac. So I figured, you know what that was all about. So
yeah.
I have a feeling it's going to be a fun time.
Hey, is the game on a Sunday?
I don't know. Whatever the 6th or 7th is, I think that's the date in my head.
October?
Yeah, if you don't have a game, Jeff, maybe we get the Cats to fly in for just the beer room and fly out.
We'll just say it now.
Hysterical.
Speak it into reality. Have the Cats fly Jeff in.
Yes, Cats fly in.
Manifest that. Let's manifest that. Yeah, no, that's, it's amazing. I feel bad. The last time everybody was there would have been a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And as it was happening, Kyle Walters calls me. And he had said to me before, hey, are you going? I'm going to try. But anyways, that
was my induction.
I think it was.
It was, yeah. And the 99 reunion, yeah.
You guys were all there, and Kyle literally calls me from the whole thing, and he's like, buddy, you are missing this. I cannot believe you're not. And it just hit me, and I was like, oh.
It wasn't any fun.
No, I'm sure. No. I can believe you guys just, called it a night at about 9:30, and like the old days.
In the morning.
Well, I didn't say AM or PM. I just said 9:30. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Listen, I appreciate you guys having.
Well, thank you for wrapping it up for us, Jeff.
Yeah.
You were asking questions. Thank you for taking over the podcast.
Some of us are in the middle of training camp. I'm not sure what you guys are doing. But,
well, listen, can I say bye from the Jeff Cummins, Morreale and Hitchcock podcast for today?
Yes.
And we love you, brother. Thank you so much for coming on. Good luck this season.
Yes.
Good luck this season. We will be watching.
You guys know I get sappy and all of us. I love you guys, man. I wish I could be there. Mike will tell you, and Rob knows too, man. If I could hug you guys, I would now. Yeah. And
that's a big old bear hug. I'd go for that.
Yeah, that's right, baby. That's right.
Hug Karen for me. Hug Karen for me. I was
going to say, do the same thing to Michelle. Mike, I don't know which wife you're on now. So
so I don't want to. It may change. So I don't want to say anything.
Don't hug them because I'm not sure, But Rob, man, give Michelle a big hug for me. Tell her I said hello, and I'll do the same for Karen for sure. And Michael, even you, but watch your hands, okay? And
yes, absolutely, understood.
Hey, man, I hope
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, keep going, Robbie, and we'll be chatting soon.
Sounds good, pal.
Take care, guys.
All right. Bye, everybody.
That's another episode of Morreale and Hitch on the Ticats Audio Network. Have a question or a comment for them? Email us at mnh@ticats.ca. That's MANDH@ticats.ca.